If the intent of the white lie was to cause the establishment to show their hand, to show their cards, so that it would be clear to the populace that the establishment had no intention of informing them, even in what would be considered the last days, but rather intended to restrain and blockade them in what would be death traps such as coastal and river basin cities, then why the need for months of delay? Would not a couple weeks have sufficed? As we stated, the optimal date for a white lie was around May 15th, and this in part was the reason for this date being chosen. The secondary reason for an early date within 2003, chosen for the white lie, was to cause the establishment to not only show their hand, but to lose their grip. How did this occur over the months since May 15th? Going into May 15th, the establishment was giving great weight to our predictions that Earth changes would occur shortly after this date. This was based on our astonishingly accurate track record on many issues, but primarily on the coordinates, which proved to be precise. Human astrophysics was batting almost zero, while we came up with the prize each time, the glowing corpus of planet X, landing precisely on the coordinates we had given weeks and often months ahead of time. To grab the oil fields of the world, considered to be the currency in the aftertime, and position the US military there as guards, required steps to be taken well ahead of rotation slowing or stoppage, and thus the pressing need to go to war with Iraq, regardless of UN approval or any proof of nexus between the 9/11 attacks in Iraq or any proof of terrorism intent on the part of Iraq. The oil fields in Alaska were considered in hand. Venezuela an easy step when the time came by removing the embattled president. Defenseless Saudi a simple matter of stepping sideways from an Iraq stronghold. The fields north of Norway virtually undefended. Pipelines into the fields north of Pakistan already guarded. And Nigeria on the plate for an easy snatch by suggesting US assistance with unrest. Thus, in order to have a stranglehold on survivors in the aftertime, to have complete control of the future currency, oil, the move into Iraq was necessary, and the war proceeded on schedule. What has happened during the delay? The US military pushed into Iraq against their advice and assigned light robots to move into Nigeria rebelled, and no longer can be counted on to follow orders from the White House. Public opinion on the need to invade Iraq has eroded as the smoking gun, evidence of weapons of mass destruction, were not found in Iraq, and thus control of all the oil fields is at risk. Seems lost, as the US military was the anchor in the grand plan and they have bolted. Can the hand behind the scenes, the major money interests that rule the world, in point of fact, recoup? Those who can be bribed have long been bribed. Those who are steadfastly attempting to do what they consider their duty have had their eyes opened